Hi, I'm Frankie, and today I'm going to be showing you how to paint a Tyranid Gargoyle. It's worth noting that the colour scheme I've gone for here is completely made up. I'm not going by any of the high fleets in the codex, so this is all me, so it's not a tutorial for a particular colour scheme. So the first thing that we want to do today is we want to create the bases. This is what we're trying to achieve. So when priming your models, we want to prime them in a white base coat, and when you prime the base you want to wrap the stem in a tape of some kind so that you don't get any paint on it. This allows for the base to actually be painted and to still have your model look like it is floating. Sometimes it can be quite tricky to get the tape off, and I normally have to scratch off a little bit of excess, but that's not a problem. Now what we're going to use to base the base is Evil Sun's Scarlet. Though it is a layer paint, it doesn't really matter as it's just going to be an undercoat for the cracks in the dirt. So we're going to get a nice bit of paint on our brush and make sure to water it down on your palette. This will create a nice smoother texture. I always forget to shake my bottles, but we really should, because then it's easier to get some paint right off the lid. We're going to apply a nice even and thin layer to the base, and that's about it for this step. Now what we want to do is apply a nice thick layer of Aquilin earth. This will create a nice dry, cracked look to the base, some cracked, dusty dirt. You want to make it really thick and lumpy. The thicker areas will dry with deeper cracks. And then we're going to put some Citadel grass tufts on, just to add a little bit of foliage so it's not all the same. I like to do varying sizes or varying places. I normally go for about 2 small tufts or 1 big one. For the carapace painting, we are going to use a Jokero orange, if that's how it's pronounced, I'm really not sure. We're going to do the whole head, coat that completely, and then we're going to do some thin stripes on the plating on the back. So we're going to have a nice thin, even layer on the head and a nice patterned back. Now to paint the wings, we're going to mix Cantor blue and Mephiston red at a 1:1 ratio, so equal parts. Both times I've done this, the purples have come out slightly different, which is fine because it's only going to be used for basically the shadowy areas on the wings. We're going to be highlighting them a lot later, so it doesn't really matter. You're going to just want to apply a nice thin, even layer all over the wings. I think it's the membrane. Is that what the skin between the bony bits are called? The membrane. We'll go with that. So yeah, just cover those completely, and then we'll move on to some shading. I use a lot of washes when doing my Tyranids, and for this step we're going to use Agrax Earthshade to colour in all of the fleshy areas that have like sort of breaking out of the skin. So all of the ridgy lumpy bits on the arms and stuff. Just going to put some Agrax Earthshade on that to give it a nice dirty looking colour. Now we're going to add some patterning to the head using white scar. Just going to do a nice little polka dot pattern all over the orange area we've already done. Try to keep it as random as possible. And you can see there that the base has dried. That took a few hours, I didn't do this all in one sitting. So yeah, the bases take a long time to dry. Now the most finicky and time consuming part, it's using Seraphim Sepia, that wash, to wash all of the flesh areas that are left. This is going to be our main colour for the skin. The only places that you don't want to do are the claws, anywhere else you've already painted, eyes, teeth, tongue, but do go over the carapace as we did earlier because it makes the white areas more orangey. which is really quite cool, I think. Using Caraborg Crimson, we're going to apply the wash to the wings areas, or all of the winged areas, all the purple bits we did earlier, and the flesh by the mouth. You can use either Caraborg Crimson or a blue wash on the wings. It doesn't really matter, as blue or red makes up purple. We're just wanting to add a bit of depth to those recesses. Once the wash is dried on the wings, we want to use Genestealer Purple to go over the top of the purple we did earlier. But when painting, be very careful and leave a thin line nearer the bony areas so that there's a dark purple just around the rim, and that the main body is this new lighter Genestealer Purple. This creates a really good shadow in the recesses. For the mouth area, we're going to use Ushabti Bone to do a base coat on all of the teeth, and Pink Horror on the tongue. We also want to apply some Drakenhof Nightshade to all of the clawed areas. We're not going to properly highlight those or anything. We want to keep the attention on the wings and the carapace. You can use the Drakenhof Nightshade in the recesses of the wings as well to again put an extra layer of light shadow. We're going to go back with the Seraphim Sepia. I've already forgotten what it's called after screwing up earlier. Apply that to the teeth areas if they're dry. Now use Towelite Ochre on all of the orange areas that we did on the carapace earlier. Just use them as an edge highlight for all the very tippy top areas. For adding highlights to the wings, this is my favourite part. We're going to mix the Genestealer Purple with White Scar. Do it about a 1:1 ratio. And then we're going to dry brush it. So if you haven't done dry brushing before, you want to use a long bristled brush that's quite wide. Get some paint on it, and then get a bit of kitchen towel or a cloth or something, and wipe off as much paint as you can so there's barely anything left on the brush. That way when you start painting the model, you do it in one direction so that it's consistent. Once you start painting the model, it will catch all of the highest areas and create a really good natural looking highlight. I'm going to do a second coat of the purple highlight. I'm going to add more white to it to create a lighter colour, and we're only going to do it on the very edges of the wings. And the very final thing to do is to get your Flash Gits yellow and colour in the eyes. That includes the one on the gun. and use your white skull again to highlight the teeth. So yeah, that's how I paint my gargoyle Tyranids. I hope you like them. If you do, leave a like. If you want to see any different techniques of or see anything else I'm doing, just leave a comment. Subscribe would be greatly appreciated. And yes, thank you. See you later. Also, I've got to mention, I've got these playing cards on Kickstarter at the moment. They're dinosaur themed, so all the number cards have got little ammonites on them. The Joker cards are Crystal Palace dinosaurs, and then all of the royal family cards are different types of dinosaurs. So yeah, that's live on Kickstarter at the moment. Only got a few days left. I will leave a link in the description. Thank you.